Alright guys, such coming again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The CDL is officially back. The first match day of the 2026 year is here tonight, but some big drama before we get into these big matches this evening. The map set that we thought we would have for this weekend's games is not the map set the pros will play on this evening after some drama was spotted with regard to Blackheart. Dashy thinks he has a solution. Maybe the CDL will employ it, maybe they will not. Lots of other things happening on the day as well. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. There's a lot to get into. We're going to start here because we saw the AR pyramid that we put together the other day. This I don't think is that controversial apart from the king, right? Who should be considered the number one SMG in the game. I think it's actually really cool to see that the panel voted for Huke to be up there as it stands after the year that he had last year. The way that he's looked on Black Ops 7 so far wasn't long ago. This guy was stuck down in challenges. OpTic brought him back, then he was gone again for Pre, then he was back again. We know what has happened since then. Could you argue Neptune as well? Could you argue Shotzzy, HyDra, Simp, JoeDeceives also will not be far off the conversation either. We'll see. But I think some big names. Obviously, Snoopy's on here twice. Slight error on that one. But yeah, apart from that, it's pretty interesting. Obviously, time will tell about this whole 04 debate on FaZe, right? Because I think that 04 could be a pretty good fit for FaZe. But obviously, they probably could have had Neptune if they wanted, and that will be a key question as the year goes on. Just to quickly mention, they made the changes to Toshin, so that's avenue, let's say, into the top part of the train building. That has now been opened up, I believe. They've also changed this on exposure. So on this part of the map, on like the solar panel side, they've got this room now that you can get into. So it's definitely an interesting change. We'll see if it really affects things too much, whether exposure becomes better or worse. I think it's nice to see the developers making changes to the maps, but it's pretty interesting given the timing of this, right? Because the big patch update dropped yesterday and the matches start today. So it is going to cause issues. I'm hoping to see as time goes forward, they might make some other tweaks to certain maps if that's what the pros think could be viable. But they are changing the overload situation, right? So the pistol will be mandated for the players carrying the device, and that will be in play tonight. So Scump says, well, it's pretty interesting. The pistol's good, but if you've got the device, you're now kind of 3v4. I think this actually will work out to be a pretty good change. I like the idea of the device carrier having to have it. I guess the concern is that if it goes to overtime at the end of the final rounds, as it stands, it still becomes a 4v4 round of search and destroy. So, you know, why would I ever try to carry the device? Because I can't drop it, right? Like, I think if you're going to have it, that it becomes this 4v4 round of search as the deciding rounds, then the device carrier should be able to drop it, because otherwise you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. So I think that's probably got to have some attention. Scump says give Dashy the rock, but the CDL confirm these will be played with tonight, because there was some talk, okay, maybe they'll wait until the end of Major 1 before they play on this patch, but no, they will be playing on this patch update with all these changes in effect as well. These are the CDL skins, so I'll just kind of briefly go through here. You've got the home and the away skins that have been leaked over the last couple of days, so you know, see which ones of these you guys like and which ones you don't. But anyway, so I think they also confirm what the CDL ones are going to look like as well for the main CDL skin. They're going to be in the game, it seems, very shortly indeed. This another very big update. So OpTic finally confirmed it yesterday. The Huntsmen are back. So we've seen for some time they had a little bit of an academy going on. It was Renegade and it was Bounds, then it was Neum and Kips alongside them, but then Bound decided to step away, and it was kind of OpTic Nation. People didn't really know what to call them. They weren't officially part of that necessarily, but OpTic made it official yesterday. So the Huntsmen are back. If you guys are very new to the scene, don't know about the Huntsmen, they were in the 2020 Call of Duty League season. That's when, well, all the drama happened. OpTic had been sold to Immortals Group. They became OpTic Gaming Los Angeles when the CDL first came around, and Hex partnered with NRG to form Chicago Huntsmen. That was the brand that they played under, Scump and Foreman and all of that, played under that season. Then it became OpTic Chicago, but the Huntsman brand is still a big part of OpTic folklore, really. It's also big for Hex personally because, well, the logo and everything is not too dissimilar to the West Ham United logo, of which he is a fan, and it's just cool to see see this brands get brought back, right? Because when there was talk about even Envy, right, if they want to come back in, do they want to do an academy team, do they want to do a challengers team, even let's say in like Valorant or something, there's the option for Envy to maybe bring back at some point the Dallas Empire brand, or just Empire. It's obviously not Chicago Huntsmen, it's just the Huntsmen, but given the opportunity was there, I think it's really cool, and it's actually great to see. I mean, Challenges is going to be so good this year. Certainly at the start of the season, there's so much happening this month. I know that there's lots of interest, especially because Scump and Formal and Zinni, they're all heavily involved with the development of this team. So yeah, Raspi's come in, Neum, Kips and Renegade. I think this looks like a pretty nice team on paper. Excited for their progress. They were playing some scrims last night as well. Zinni says, I was tasked with building this team and I couldn't be happier to bring these guys on. I see a lot of my younger self in these up-and-coming players and believe Challenges is the lifeblood of competitive COD. I'll do whatever I can to help these boys grow. So, you know, WGM Zinni, wishing the best for him, wishing the best for these players. As I say, they were getting some scrims in yesterday. They played a little bit of Illy's team, actually, and, well, there were a couple of clips coming out. This was one of them here. I think this is from Neum's POV. He's been frying for the last year or so, and to see him now as part of the OpTic, you know, Academy, OpTic Challengers, the Huntsmen, effectively, and see that be officially supported by OpTic for the first time ever, right? I mean, this is the first time ever that we have had OpTic properly support a Challengers team. Hex has made it clear for a long time that they would do it if it made sense. And this year, finally, it seems to make sense. I think mainly helped by the fact that Renegade was looking to get involved in COD, and just made sense probably to keep him involved with OpTic and bring the brand over. But this season, Challenges, the support is, look, it's probably not where we would like it to be, but definitely the CDL is stepping up the level of support for Challenges. There's more prize money. There's a lot of tournaments happening over these first couple of months or so, and it could be really important for these guys in the medium to the longer term as well. This was another clip, again here on Exposure, but this is Formal's reaction here to Kips. He slams Illy, shoots his body. His teammate tries to get the tread, and he slams him as well. So I think Glow Frosty might have run out of bullets there or something, but pretty cool to see these guys getting on the action. Now, let's talk about some of the drama with the CDL tonight, because this is the new map. Well, there are some new maps. This is Utopia, of course, and Scump says he's loving it, right? Like, it's early days, of course, on this map, but he's a big fan of it, enjoyed it more than some of the others, and just watching and, you know, looking at everything on this map, it feels like it could be a good opportunity to be pretty important for this year's CDL in due course. Now, the CDL have said they will not change the map pool until after Major 1. So they brought in Blackheart instead of Raid, which was somewhat controversial. Then it's Colossus, Den, Scar, Exposure, the usual suspects. Some of the players not especially keen on Colossus, and I think understandably. And as Scump says, this is easily his favourite, probably easily the best of the new maps they've added. People, you know, not everyone's going to love it, but I certainly think it should be tried, and then we can see what the pros think for it in some of the respawn game modes as well. Now, as of last night, Blackheart. So Blackheart came in instead of Raid, as we know. Pretty controversial when that happens, because you might have expected Raid Hardpoint to be the kind of be-all and the end-all, as it were, for maps in this game, but that has not been the case. The players have decided they want to go a different direction, especially because of the spawns we currently have on Raid are not exactly the best. So Blackheart came in instead, and it does appear that it's a bang-out map, right? Like, the players seem to kind of like it. However, there has been a problem here, because Blackheart has been temporarily removed from both public and private map pools while we investigate an issue. So, some sort of problem with Blackheart on this new update. And again, this is the problem with the fact that they dropped the map updates and all the game updates, and the CDL literally is happening the next day. Now, there's always going to be some sort of crossover problem there. It just is what it is. The state of the COD League and the schedule is not top of their agenda when it comes to dropping these updates, but it is certainly still relevant. So, as a result of that, Blackheart's Hardpoint is unplayable, and it has been removed from the map pool for this weekend's games and the Challengers Cup. Now, this is, I guess, the interesting line. It will not be replaced at this time, which, you know, strikes a little bit of a surprise, I suppose, because we thought Raid was going to be in. So, we're going to have only 4 Hardpoint maps in play for this weekend. presumably they will fix Blackheart and put it back in at some point, but you know, it would be a good opportunity to try, wouldn't it? Could you not just throw Utopia in to see? The players would probably just veto it anyway, so it might not even matter. But Ghosty's like, what do you mean, right? And Atura, Method Sick, all rather confused in the replies here, being like, you know, what do you mean? As Jake Hale says, why not put Raid in, right, as a temporary measure to see how that goes? Again, if the pros don't want to play it, they can just veto it in the series. It is what it is. Don't really see the disadvantage of at least replacing it with something. So that's happening this weekend, and Dashy has his idea. He says Utopia to save the day. So he's a big fan of Utopia, it seems. As Crump says, Dashtopia. Dashy's like, Crump Colossus can't have everything, right? So, of course, Crump kind of likes Colossus, but I don't know if that map is going to be too long for this world after Major 1. Is that something the CDL should do or should have done? Good question. Into your thoughts in the comments. Speaking of maps, Standoff is in the game now. And, well, we'll discuss the CDL matchups for tonight in a second here. But I just wanted to spend a minute or so on Standoff talking about the way that it is now. Because this is Standoff. What a classic map. And I think for Search and Destroy in this game, it could still work. In the respawns, the movement nowadays is just quicker. It just feels a bit too fast. But this guy turns up on Standoff. Again, they've got rid of the tractor. It always used to be a tractor here. And I know that a tractor was always a little bit dodgy in terms of the line of sight you could get with it. But, you know, it's just all kind of boring with these hay bales and everything. And then this guy just comes flying over the wall and guns him, and it's like, well, you couldn't do this back in the day. Back in the day, there was a big tree here, which there still is, but the tree was harder to see through, and you could get up on top of the tractor, you could try and play for an angle over towards the crates over there, towards the boxes. This was not a possibility for this guy to just come flying over the wall here. But on this map, there's tons of things you can do. So, as S&D Dylan points out, you can do that route that we just saw. You can even do it the other way as well. And look, I don't know if I like these. I think when these first became a thing, these like outside of the map jumping spots, it was kind of cool and a novelty. There'd be maybe one on a map, like the one on Hacienda, right, which is kind of notable. And, you know, like I think on the original one that I always think about is the Hacienda one nearby where the well is. And there's that part of the map. And you could always hop around the map to go around the outside there. I thought that was all kind of nice. But I think times have changed, right? I mean, some of these are outrageous. I just don't think, especially this one, really. The map is designed that you have to flood this way if you're going to flood. But no, you don't have to anymore. You can jump over the wall and go this way instead. Now, look, if there's a guy top window in, you know, top grannies, he's still going to gun you. So it is what it is, I suppose. But you can also do the same this way. And I don't know, this is actually kind of an interesting one. This would have been very useful if you could have done it on Standoff back in the day to get through to this side. Again, if you're playing Hardpoint or something, you're going to get picked off here easily enough, but you can also do this the other way around as well, because it even lets you mantle over that. There's even this one, which, I mean, I think there was always this hole in the wall, but you can now use it to your advantage to get around to the back spawn. So anyway, just to let you know, those things are a possibility. I think one or two of these, if they're in the game, it's like, okay, but having all of them in just changes the way the map plays to such a great extent. Tonight, Simp plays aBeZy for the first time ever, which is really exciting indeed. 2 13-time champions. The last time we had a player with that many championships, or players that many championships, play each other was Scump and Crim a couple of years back. These are the games of the weekend, but especially these are the games for tonight. So the opening match is ReeaL Falcons versus OpTic Texas. Now, OpTic have lost their last like 3 or 4 opening matches in the CDL. I'm not expecting them to lose this evening, but we'll see. It's an exciting one. Pred versus OpTic is always going to be good. Ravens versus Breach, pretty excited to see how that gets on. I think that I saw a stat that I think Brian Sat spit it out as well. Nero is 4-0 in his opening games. He, of course, on the Ravens. So we'll see what Boston can do. I think Boston will be considered the favourites there, but you know, I think I expected a bit more out of Boston in the preseason, so we'll see if that transpires tonight. And then, really, the big game, I think, Thieves versus FaZe. Where do they sit in everyone's power rankings? Good question. It's kind of difficult to say. What we do know is that the other day, Thieves beat FaZe at that 50k LAN, but FaZe, I'm sure, will look for revenge, and all the eyes will be on, you know, Kenny, really, to see what his KD looks like at the end of the series. But also for FaZe, they will have to to, you know, try and disprove the allegations that they are just a Simp and Inshallah roster. So that is the setup for this weekend. Very excited for it all to get underway tonight. It's a standard time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. here in the UK, and well, I'll see you all this evening. So hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.